Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Doer's Digest. Today, we're diving into a really powerful story of leadership failure. Our anchor text is 2 Samuel 11. Now, yeah, it's about a king, but trust me, the lessons here on integrity, they are for every single one of us. So let's get right into it.
It all starts with this one tiny line. So simple you could almost miss it. See, kings are supposed to lead from the front, right? But this time, David stays home. And that one little break in his discipline, man, that's the first domino to fall in what becomes this absolutely devastating crisis, not just for him, but for his entire nation.
And look, this is not just some old story about a king. This is a story about all of us. It's universal. Think about it. One unguarded evening, one missed duty. That's really all it takes sometimes to swing the door wide open for a whole chain of terrible choices. So let's really break down what the core problem is here.
Okay, so here's the deal. Temptation on its own, it's usually manageable, right? We all face it. But what our anchor text shows us is this kind of dangerous recipe. When you take temptation and then you add power, the ability to act without anyone stopping you, and then you throw in the perfect opportunity, whoa. It becomes this incredibly destructive force. When those three things line up and you don't have any guardrails in place, the potential for causing real harm just skyrockets.
So this story isn't just here to scare us. It's actually like a masterclass in what not to do. It gives us three really profound truths that help us see how this downward spiral happens, so we can spot the warning signs in our own lives. All right, so how does it happen? First, small freedoms can lead to big failures. David skipping that battle, that was the small break in discipline that created the opening. Second, power doesn't just give you freedom, it magnifies your responsibility. As a leader, you have to guard yourself and the vulnerable people around you. And third, and this is so important, hiding multiplies the harm. Please remember this. The cover-up, the hiding, it almost always causes more damage than the original mistake. Okay, so that's the problem, right? That's the downward spiral. So what's the solution? What's the playbook for us? Let's talk about the practical, real-world guardrails we can build to protect our integrity and our leadership. But before we get into the list, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself this, really honestly, what are your non-negotiables? What systems do you actually have in place right now to protect yourself for that moment when temptation, power, and opportunity all line up? Let's get really concrete about this. Well, the story starts with an idle evening, so guess what? Our first step is to protect the night. This is all about building simple but incredibly powerful habits. I'm talking about a hard stop for your devices, no negotiations. Be absolutely ruthless about avoiding those ambiguous, private situations that just feel off. And maybe the most important thing of all, have someone you check in with, a real accountability partner who knows what you're about and has permission to call you on your stuff. All right, now let's talk about the battle that happens inside your own head. On one shoulder, you've got that dangerous little voice whispering, just this once. It tries to make a small compromise seem like no big deal. But on the other shoulder is the disciplined response. It hears that same thought and sees it for what it is, a blaring red alert siren warning you to protect your integrity. You guys making that mindset shift, that is everything. And listen, for those of you in any position of authority, a manager, a parent, a coach, this part is absolutely non-negotiable. You cannot be your own judge and jury. It just doesn't work. You need external checks, a board, a wise counselor, a mentor, someone who has both the permission and, just as importantly, the courage to grab you by the shoulders and tell you when you're walking toward a cliff. But what if the guardrails fail? What happens if you do fall? Because let's be real, it happens. Well, the good news is our anchor text is just as clear about the path to repair as it is about the path to ruin. And it all starts with making one single courageous decision. Here it is. Stop. Covering. That's it. The very moment you realize you've messed up, the first and most critical act of healing is to just stop the cover-up. Stop spinning the story. Stop hiding. Because every single second you spend trying to conceal the damage, you're just digging that hole deeper and wider. Okay, from that point on, the path is actually pretty clear. Step 1. Confess immediately. Find a trusted, wise person and just tell them. Step 2, take full 100% responsibility. No excuses, no blaming anyone else. You own it. And step 3, begin restitution. Start asking, what practical things can I do right now to repair the harm and protect the people I've affected? All right, let's bring this all home. This is a pep talk for all the doers out there. This isn't about getting stuck and wallowing in failure. No, this is about making courageous choices, and you can start making them right now.
I really want you to let this next part sink in. A single night of bad choices, it doesn't have to erase your entire life. It doesn't define who you are forever. But it does demand a response. And that response isn't perfection. It's honesty. It's not hiding. It's courage. The courage to face what you did, to protect others from more harm, and to allow yourself to be reshaped by the truth. So here's a challenge for you for right now, for the next hour. Just pick one of these. If you're feeling tempted, I want you to text your accountability partner right now. Be brutally honest. If you're a leader, take 5 minutes and just publish a simple code of conduct. And if you've already fallen, write that email or text to a trusted leader. The first step toward healing can literally happen in the next 60 minutes. So here it is, the final word. Your future is just too valuable. Your integrity is too precious. Don't ever trade it for some momentary desire. You've got to fight for discipline. You've got to fight for the kind of friendships that sharpen you and tell you the hard truth. That fight, it is always, always worth it. It's what keeps you whole, and it's what keeps other people safe. Let's end with this prayer. Think of it as a tool to kind of center your heart on strength, on wisdom, and on courage, no matter what you're facing today. Whether you're fighting temptation, leading a team, or maybe you're seeking restoration. Thanks so much for joining us on the Doer's Digest. Now go and make the courageous choice.